The Heavyweight Muay Thai Championship is on the line as two-division, two-sport champion Roman Kryklia defends his strap against three-time WBC Muay Thai champion Lyndon Knowles. This is the One Fight Night 30 preview show on Fighting with Friends. Welcome back to Fighting with Friends, the undisputed African fighting podcast champion of the world. One Fight Night 30 takes place this Saturday morning, April 5th at 2 a.m. South African time from the legendary Lupini Stadium in Bangkok, Thailand. And breaking down the card with me today, the reigning defending undisputed vegan champion of the world, our chief analyst, that is, of course, Brother Gaia.
What's up, 80?
What's going on, Brother Gaia? And this is One Fight Night 30, bruh. And as always, we start
at the top of the card.
At the top of the card, we do see, as mentioned, the two-division, two-sport champion, Roman Kryklia. The champ is... Where's my notes here? The champ is 6-0 in one championship. 2 wins by KO, 83% finish rate. He's on a 6-fight streak, beating Alex Roberts by KO in his last fight, coming up against the debutant Lyndon Knowles, who is a 3-time WBC Muay Thai champion. Full disclosure here, this is the first Muay Thai heavyweight fight I'll ever be witnessing live on stream this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to tune in for that one. So BG, I mean, apart from Sagat from Street Fighter, bro, I've never seen any Muay Thai heavyweights, bro. So what can I expect here, bro?
Are you nuts? That is kind of funny. You did a very good build up for the two athletes, and I think just based on what you're saying, the 3-time WBC champion and then also two-division current sport champion in Roman Kryklia, you have to expect some kind of knockout, right? You have to expect some kind of finish in this fight, and both athletes are known for finishing. I had some difficult time doing a lot of research on Lyndon Knowles, but based off of what I did get, I believe that he's the brother of the head coach of Jonathan Haggerty. So that should kind of speak volumes. And if you were a 3-time WBC champion, Muay Thai champion, then obviously you've got some good accolades under your belt, and you've got some good skill sets to be able to accomplish something like that. But I've watched Roman since his induction into the One Championship, and I was blown away in all his fights, to be honest with you. I mean, the dude's got an average fight time of 7 minutes. 7 minutes. You know what I mean? Like this guy's ending your lights. He's putting your lights out very, very quickly. And of his 6 fights in the One Championship, only one of it went distance. All the other fights ended in the first or second round. All those just knockouts after knockout after knockout. He's got a very, very good right hand on him. He's got a good tip kick as well. And what I think it's most dangerous about Roman Kryklia is that he's patient and he walks you down in a way that he doesn't doesn't get discouraged by what you throw at him. If you look at his fight against Alex Roberts didn't do anything. So I won't even talk about that fight. If you look at the fight against Arja Azispor, that fight was nuts. I remember watching it with Jedi, and it was the first time I actually saw Roman Kryklia look like he was in danger. Like Azispor had him rocked twice in that fight. Got Roman fighting backwards for the first round. And I was like, hey, what's going on with Roman? Roman was dropped in that fight. And he fought back. And when he fought back, he didn't rush the knockout. He didn't rush to get back that knockdown. He was very patient. He utilized his length. He worked off the jab. Worked off that tip. He basically worked his way into the position where now he can let his hands go and ultimately let that high kicks go, let that hooks go. I think he's very creative. I think he's a elusive fighter. I think he's going to be a champion for a long time. He's still relatively young, 33 years old. He's not old. It's particularly for the heavyweight or the heavier divisions. I think when you're 33, you're still pretty much in a very good state and prime position in the heavyweight division. So taking on Lyndon Knowles here, I think what's Lyndon Knowles going to do that's going to disrupt that of Roman Kryklia. I think Roman Kryklia doesn't like fighting in the clinch. He hates fighting in that position. So I think if Lyndon Knowles closes the distance, I think he's going to come in. He's coming into this fight as the shorter fighter. If I'm not mistaken, Lyndon Knowles is 5'11". Roman Kryklia is 6'6". It's like that's quite a significant reach and height advantage for Roman Kryklia. So I think Lyndon Knowles is going to have to close the distance. He can't fight on the outside here. He's going to have to close the distance, fight in the clinch, make it very ugly for Roman Kryklia. Utilize a lot of knees, some elbows in that clinch work. Don't fight on the outside. Otherwise, you're going to get knocked out by Roman Kryklia. He's 38 years old, as you can see on screen. I'm not too sure if this is going to For me personally, I feel like this is actually like a lost each shot for Lyndon Knowles' career. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if he wins the title here and he goes, oh, I'm going to go on another run and defend my title for how long? 38 years old. To be honest with you, I think this is his last shot at the touch of glory. And he loses here. It's like, you know what? I got paid really well. I went out there, fought against the best guy in one championship. Thank you for that. Let me go back to coaching Jonathan Haggerty and stay in that camp. And I feel like that's what the fight's going to look like for me. I think Roman Kryklia is going to get him out of there, possibly round 1 or round 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to go on, like you mentioned, BG, with this guy. There's not much information about him. But the numbers don't, like you say, they're not in his favor. The older fighter, the shorter fighter.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know anything about this guy, so I'm not reserve my comment. He might shock me on the night. I hope he does. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any thoughts on this one, drop us a comment and please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Keep a lookout for our live stream this weekend, friends. But yeah, BG, like I said, not much for me to say here. Do you have any other thoughts on this one?
Yeah. The one thing I did notice was Lyndon Knowles was a training partner of Carrillo Roundtree for the fight against Alex Pereira. If that does count for anything, really, there's that little bit of information. So yeah, I mean, the guy does appears from his contemporaries to have a lot of knowledge on the sport. I mean, if you were a 3-time champion, that means you had to lose the title twice to get it back again for the 3rd time. That's not an easy thing to do. I know Trilogy always like counts that as a bit of a asterisk into name if you have to get the title back 3 times. But it's a difficult thing to do to win the title back after losing it. It's a very difficult thing to do. So we have to give some kind of props for that accolades that he has in the UK. So yeah, let's see. You know what I mean? For Roman Kryklia, it's a bit of an unknown opponent, and that's always a very difficult thing to deal with. So maybe I'm completely wrong, and Lyndon goes in there and puts on a performance of a lifetime. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, very possibly, and it is the heavyweight division, bro. So the puncher's chance is especially prevalent in that division.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see it, bro. Like I said, never seen a heavyweight Muay Thai fight before, so super hyped for this. Like a full one. I've been watching a bit of tape now before we came on, but super excited for that one, bro. Muay Thai, kidding me, bro. Let's go. So anyway, we'll keep it moving then, and we'll go to the trilogy here, lightweight kickboxing fight, and here we have the immortal Regian Eersel, lightweight Muay Thai and kickboxing champion. They could in 111, 1-0, 3 wins by KO, beat Alexis Nicolas by unanimous decision in the last fight. So like I said, this is the trilogy. And Alexis Nicolas is the former, of course, kickboxing champion. His record is 2-1-0, and of course, last time he lost to Regian Eersel by unanimous decision. And that was quite convincing, if I remember correctly. Quite a convincing performance there by Regian Eersel. There was a bit of back and forth, but I think he stamped the performance at the end of the night, and it was a clear decision in his favor there, BG. So, I mean, what do you see here, Bram? More of the same, or is there going to be anything different here from Alexis Nicolas?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would like to see a bit different approach from Alexis Nicolas. I don't know if he goes in the same approach like he did in the first 2 fights. He wins the fight. That first fight, I personally felt like it was a little bit of a fluke, and it's nothing to throw shade on Nicolas. I thought Nicolas fought really well in that first fight, but Regian Eersel didn't look like the Eersel I know. You know what I mean? I've been watching Regian Eersel defend both titles since going back to 2019. I've been watching this dude fight a lot, and I was like, that's not the same athlete. That is not the same athlete. He underestimated Nicolas, and you guys has beaten that first fight. Because in the second fight, Regian didn't look like he was underestimating anybody. He went in there and was like, "This dude, I'm gonna show him why he was lucky in that first fight." And it was, I think I gave Alexis Nicolas the second round, or maybe the third round. I gave him a competitive nature in that third round. But rounds 1, 2, 4, and 5, Regian put it on him, in a way that you just mentioned. It was very, very convincing. He stamped his name on it for sure, which made me feel like they shouldn't actually rematch the fight. But if you're 1-1, they should rematch the fight. Now, what can Alexis Nicolas do different to beat Regian Eersel? So what he did really well in that first fight was he calf kicked every time Regian Eersel would enter. Right? He calf kicked every single time, and he calf kicked at the end of the exchange, which made Regian Eersel couldn't really move the way he normally does. He couldn't enter and be this aggressive fighter that throws his knees and throws his hooks. And we see Eersel fight. He fights like that. He uses his long reach to get you up against the ropes, and then he just keeps you there with knees and hard, short boxing combinations. Nicolas almost mitigated that by throwing a lot of calf kicks, and then he was the one who was actually pressing first. He didn't let Regian Eersel do anything first in their first encounter. So for me, Nicholas is going to have to go back to something like that. I think in the first fight, in the second fight, he was taking too many pictures. And he was being a bit starstruck by Regian Eersel in that second fight. So I think in this one, he's going to have to remove that starstruckness and showcase why you can actually hang with the best of the best. So I do think that he was a bit too afraid in that second fight, and Eersel just was on fire, and there was nothing that Nicholas could have done to actually bet it in his favor. But in the third fight, he's going to have to be aggressive. He's going to have to use the calf kicks again, because he didn't do it in that second fight. And I think that's what's going to give him a better chance of actually winning the fight and making it more competitive than what it was in that second encounter. But Regian Eersel, he just does what he does best, bro. Fight with the jab, utilize that reach, and make it difficult for Alexis Nicolas to close that void and do what Regian Eersel does and just be active in every moment. Drop a four hit combo, drop a 5 hit combo, which is what he was doing a lot. And basically, every time Nicolas wanted to throw something, Regian Eersel would throw it first and throw maybe 2 or 3 punches. Where at that point, Alexis can't actually counter that because now he's going to have to defend 1, 2, 3 and a knee before he can actually do something. And Regian did that really well in that second fight. He was active throughout every single round. So yeah, it's going to be another competitive fight. I think Alexis is probably gonna go in there a little more aggressive because he realizes he can't take pictures. But if he does that, he's going to find himself losing the fight again. And I think it's going to go another fight. I think it's going to go again to 5 rounds. I'm going to give it to Regian Eersel to win again over 5 rounds, but this time not so convincingly, like a 4-1 or 5-0. It's going to be maybe a 3-2 win over the course of that 5 rounds.
Fair play, BG. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, drop us a comment there. Let us know your thoughts on this one. Who you got, Regian Eersel or Alexis Nicolas? Any final thoughts here, BG?
Final thoughts. I think the Immortal's gonna just stay immortal. But I really hope that Alexis Nicolas makes it more competitive like he did in that first fight because it's like this was the first fight. You got Regian Eersel here and you got Nicolas here, and then in the second fight it's like Regian Eersel just went over there and he left Nicolas behind. And for me, that showcased that the gap was actually very massive in terms of the talent between the two guys, which is what I thought was going to happen in the first fight. So, yeah, I'm hoping Alexis comes in there not fighting scared and actually fights very aggressively because he has to. He has to. That's how you. The way to beat Eersel is you have to make him fight backwards and make him rethink. Almost make Eersel get reckless and then counter him. You know what I mean? Like that's how I've seen him look a little bit shaky in the past. But dude, the guy was like undefeated until Alexis Nicolas came in there. So and he was beating all the best guys in the one championship. So you can't really bet against Regian Eersel, can you?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like you should, the way you've described it there. But yeah, if you do have a different opinion, of course, let us know, ladies and gentlemen. But okay, then we'll go to the stacked featherweight Muay Thai division now. And here we see Sittichai coming up against Nico Carrillo. Sittichai is 6-5-0, all wins by unanimous decision. Last time he lost to Shadow by unanimous decision. Coming up against Nico Carrillo, record one is 4-1-0. Last time losing to Nabil Anane, the champion, by TKO. And he was, of course, on a 4-fight streak before that loss. So before we went on ABG, you mentioned that you feel like one are trying to make a superstar out of Nico Carrillo. So what are your thoughts on the fight in general? And do you think he has that star potential that the one championship was so desperately looking for?
Yeah. I do think he has a star potential. I do believe it. I think he's purely based on beating Muay Thai and Nico Carrillo. And who was the what's the name? The third person he beat before Nan beat him. Nico Carrillo, he beat Timapek. Those are 3 absolute studs. Absolute studs. I mean, Nongo in itself, if you've beaten Nongo already, you're like, nah, this guy's going to have to be a superstar, And I think the one championship was relying on that because of the fighters that were feeding him and also in the succession of how they were feeding those fights. I think after Nabil beat him, they were like, it was like left a bit of a big question mark on him, just like they did with Masaki Noiri. It's like, oh, easy really that guy because he came in with all these credentials and then he lost to Nico Carrillo, the same thing. It's like now what? And then he immediately left the division to go up a weight. And I personally feel like why I say they want to build up a star against him by feeding him someone like Sittichai, who's ranked number 4 in the featherweight Muay Thai division. I personally feel like that's like if you beat Sittichai, who's that's a big name in one championship and in the whole of Thailand, it's a massive name. If you beat Sittichai, that you can almost guarantee a number one contenders fight like a Smoking Joe or Bampara. You know what I mean? Any one of those guys. I know Superbon's going to fight Noiri, so he can't really fight in this division right now at the moment. But I personally feel like if they really wanted to give Nico Carrillo a slow, not necessarily slow, but a careful boost to his career after losing that fight, they could have given him someone like Luke Lesay, who was ranked number 5 instead. Ranked number 5, introduction to the featherweight division. You beat number 5. Now you can take on someone like Sittichai. But I think beating Sittichai gives him almost like a pass. You know what I mean? Like he can bypass some of those high-ranked opponents, athletes, because he's beating someone like Sittichai. And because Sittichai goes out there and he puts on clinics and people. I think Nico is going to win this fight. I think he's going to actually knock out Sittichai, to be honest with you, because I've watched Sittichai, and Sittichai, for me, also one of the guys who put me to the one championship. But I like Sittichai in kickboxing. In kickboxing, he's one of the best to watch. The way he styles, the way he game plans on opponents in kickboxing is one of the best things you will ever see. Like he put a clinic against Masaki Noiri. Like he fucked up Masaki Noiri badly, bro. Now he's fighting small ounce gloves, and I've seen Sittichai. Sittichai doesn't defend boxing combinations really well in the small ounce gloves as opposed to when he's fighting kickboxing. Kickboxing, they give you that big gloves. You've got the cushioning to actually defend strikes a little bit better. The small ounce gloves, it just takes one jab and you feel it. You go to yourself, oh my way, I don't want to get touched like that again. And Nico Carrillo, we've seen it before. If he touches you, bro, you're gonna fall. You're gonna probably get knocked out immediately. And I think Nico Carrillo is gonna use his height and size advantage here to walk Sittichai down and utilize hard body hooks to set up those hooks to the head and probably try and flatten Sittichai like that. Sittichai is going to have to move a lot. He's going to have to tip. He's going to have to tip Nico Carrillo the same way Anand did. Take out Nico Carrillo's legs. Don't stay in the line of fire to get exchanged with the hooks. I think Sittichai is going to have to use his kickboxing combinations. 1, 2, 3, 4. Throw a hard left kick and move out of the way. Move laterally and stay. Let Nico Carrillo chase you down because he's going to hate that, and then he's going to put himself in positions where he can't get touched by Sittichai. So it's making it have to be a very high level Muay Thai fight. A lot of game plan is going to go on in this fight here. But I think we know what you're going to get from Nico Carrillo. He's just going to walk you down and try and powerhouse you. And I think Sittichai is going to have to evade that very carefully and look to counter strike to win the fight. But I'm going to go with what I said in the beginning. I think Nico Carrillo is going to get the knockout here. I think the one championship expecting him to do that. I think that's exactly what we're going to get.
So yeah, just one more question on Nico Carrillo. You did mention that you see him as a potential superstar. Does that mean you see him as a potential, or what would you say are the chances of him being a future champion here in this division? If you were to put a percentage on it.
Featherweight Muay Thai.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be tough for him to be a champion here. I can see him be a contender, but if I must give a percentage number of him being a champion in the featherweight division, I'd probably say like a 30%, 35%. I think it's dude. I'll be honest with you. If you can pull the rankings up on screen quickly,
Sure.
Tawan Chai is the champion, right? Tawan Chai in Muay Thai for me is unbeatable, right? And then below him we have Superbon, who's the kickboxing current champion. He's fighting Noiri next to unify that belt, right? Then below him, Pampara for me is the uncrowned champion there. I think Pampara can beat Tawan Chai. There's Pampara Koyate, who I think will fuck up Nico Carrillo every single round. Smoking Joe Wood, I don't know. I think he might be past his best. Sittichai, 33 years old, maybe only has a couple of more fights left. I think Nico Carrillo can beat him. I think Luke Lesay beats Nico Carrillo as well. So yeah, that's 3 names. That's four names. I didn't include Superbon, by the way. If I include Superbon in it, that's 4 names. I think that will beat Nico Carrillo. Superbon, Tawan Chai, Bampara, and Luke Lesay. I think they all beat Nico Carrillo. Really, I think they're all more not necessarily more creative. I think they have a wider toolbox of ways to beat fights. Nico Carrillo doesn't have a wide toolbox. He just has a lot of power, and he's big for a division, and he walks you down, and then he lets his hands go, and he touches you down. Whereas Lucas is twice his size. He's a tall featherweight. Pampara is a very tall featherweight. Superbon is also quite massive. Tawanchai is also quite massive for featherweight. And all of them have got a very elusive toolbox of how to beat you. They're very creative and they can game plan in many ways to beat you. Whereas Nico Carrillo doesn't throw a lot of knees, doesn't throw a lot of calf kicks, doesn't fight in the clinch in Muay Thai. He just comes in there and just kickboxes you. And he just uses hands. Doesn't tip. So he's not. If he can show me more moves into his move list, I might say he can be a champion. But to be a champion, if you look at all those names, Tawanchai, Superbon, Pampara, those guys can throw all sorts of shit at you. Spinning back elbows, they can throw all sorts of shit at you. And I think Nico Carrillo is just a step below that. And that's why I don't think he can be the champion there. But he can be a very good contender.
Great breakdown there, BG. Really great stuff. Please drop a like for that one there, BG, giving you inside information to the featherweight Muay Thai division there. Give thanks, BG. But we will go then to a catchweight fight now, BG. And here we have the man who yields to no one, legend in the game, coming up against the American Ninja. So we have Seksan, who is 10-1-0 in the one championship. He's on a 2-fight streak. Last time he beat Sulan U by unanimous decision. Coming up against the American Ninja, Asa Ten Pow, record in one championship, 2-2-0. Last time lost to John Lineker by KO, of course, in his last fight, but was on a 2-fight streak before that. Seksan, of course, absolute legend here, bro. Great record in the one championship. Does the American Ninja have anything to bring to us to Seksan here? What are your thoughts, bro?
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I like Asa Ten Pow. I think he's a very fun fighter. He's cool. Does have that ninja style. If you think about it, if you watch his fights. But how do you beat Seksan? I was actually quite shocked to see the record when I was putting notes together. I was like 10-1. I'm pretty sure I saw him lose a few times, but 10-1. I was like, nah, brother.
You man, one in the streets, bro.
You know, and you know what? The fight I watched Seksan that really made me get like shocked now is the fight against Tyson Harrison, which was his first fight in the one championship. That blew my mind because I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw him fight before that. And if you look at his record, you bring it up on screen, he fought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in 2023, winning all 8, twice in 2024, then 2024, winning another fight in 2024. I was like, this guy is he's just wiping out everybody. And then I thought, and I personally thought,
machine, bro.
Literally 80, and all those fights I just looked at now, and I've watched all of them, but I thought all those fights were, for some reason, I felt like it was different time zones, but it wasn't. It was all in one fucking year. Yo, Seksan is a beast, Babaru. And in all those fights, it's hard to see him lose. I mean, and the fight that he did lose was by unanimous decision. He's never been knocked out. The man doesn't get knocked out. He doesn't get rocked. He doesn't do anything like that. And Asa Ten Pow is the kind of guy that looks for knockouts. But I don't know if he actually can knock Seksan out, to be honest with you. I don't know if he's durable enough to withstand Seksan's onslaught. We know what kind of style he does. He's going to walk you down. He's going to take all your shots. He's going to throw hard elbows. He's going to make it a hell of a ugly and grueling kind of experience for you to fight against Seksan. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Asa Ten Pow is going to fold by the continuous onslaught of what Seksan's going to deliver at him. Clinch knees, hard low kicks, hard body kicks, overhand rights, straight lefts, basically walking Asa Ten Pow down. Asa Ten Pow is going to have to obviously use the side-to-side movement, because if he does that, Seksan can't chase him down. Right? Seksan can't hit that target because he keeps moving side to side. But I think if Asa Ten Pow believes that he can stand there with Seksan in the pocket, I don't know if that's the smart thing to do here. I think Asa Ten Pow is going to have to utilize the jab. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but Asa Ten Pow is going to have to win on decision here. I don't think it's a smart decision to go in there and try and knock Seksan out. Many athletes I've had in the past, they've all failed at doing this, and they get caught in an exchange where they don't want to be in that exchange with him anymore. So I think Asa Ten Pow is going to have to, unfortunately, make it a boring fight, quote unquote, make it a boring fight. Which I think is actually a smart thing to do. Win on points, outpoint Seksan, because that's how you can beat him. The same way people beat Sulan U, you're going to beat Seksan like that. But the difference between Seksan and Sulan U is Seksan doesn't wait to start. That man goes to you immediately, bro. He walks you down and he fights from the first second. He doesn't wait until the third round to do this. Seksan goes from minute one. And for that reason, I think we're definitely going to get a barn burn on the fight. And I think Seksan's going to win either by decision, most likely, or he wins by a TKO in the second or third round. melting Asa Ten Pow.
Yeah, I mean, we were just looking at Asa Ten Pow's record now, and like you said, he even knocks out or he gets knocked out. So if that's not going to be an option for him here, then yeah, not likely to get the victory here for me
It's not
either.
going to get
Yeah.
it.
But ladies and gentlemen, if you have a different opinion or the same opinion or a question, whatever it might be, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. PG, any final thoughts on this one before we go to our local boy?
My final thoughts is quite different to what I thought I was going to say about the fight, and that is, I personally feel like, and this is also a question for all the audience members out there that are supporting the One Championship. Do you feel like the One Championship is doing Seksan dirty? The dude was on a 10-fight win streak and only lost once. Why is he fighting catchweight fights? Why hasn't he fought in a division? You know what I mean? And also he competed a lot on the Friday fights card. So I was like, 36 years old. Me personally, I would have loved to have seen him in a division by now. Maybe even fighting the number one contenders kind of matchup. Because he's definitely a fan favorite. The fans love this guy. And with that kind of record and the performances he does put on, he should have actually been in the contention for a long time ago already. But anyway, I think final thoughts, Seksan is going to be the winner on the night.
Here we go. Maybe there is something that we don't know about regarding lice fighting at catchweight. So if you do have any insight there for us people, please let us know. But let's go to our local hero now, Bokang Masunyane in the flyweight MMA
Yes.
division. He's coming up against Sanzar Zakirov. Bokang Masunyane is 4-2-0. One win by KO. He lost to Mansur Malakiev by unanimous decision in his last fight. Coming up against Sanzar Zakirov, 21 years old, record in one championship, 5-0, one by KO, two by TKO on a 5-fight streak. Beat Eko Ronnie by KO in his last fight. So, hell of a contender here, Sanzar Zakirov, by the sounds of it, BG. You did mention that you're not really liking our boys' chances here, on paper anyway. But Masunyane does, of course, need a win to get back into title contention. PG, so how's this one going to play out, bro?
Yeah, I'm just not very comfortable with this matchup, AD. I'm not comfortable with it just because I feel Bokang Masunyane doesn't have to fight this fight. He's ranked number 3 or number 4 in the strawweight division. He wins one fight in the strawweight division. He's got a title shot. You know what I mean? I don't know why this matchup is made. I think Sanzo Zakirov was calling for a matchup very soon. I remember his last fight. He won the fight against Ekurani in the second round, and then he was like, I didn't actually want that fight. I wanted to go upper division. But now he's still here in flyweight. So maybe he makes a run at this division. I think it's a fantastic division for him to make a run at, really. I think he can really be a champion. I think he can beat Wakamatsu, if I'm being honest with you. He's super tall. He's aggressive. He fights hard. He fights fast. He's a reminiscent fighter of the current featherweight MMA champion of, what's his name? Akbar Abdullayev. Remember Akbar Abdullayev? Very similar style. Young, obviously very young version of that. And I think what's going to happen here, we're going to see Bokang really struggle with that height advantage. Bokang is 5'1" and Senzor is 5'6". So what we're going to see in this fight is that the one athlete is going to be significantly smaller and lighter than the other one. Bokang's best attribute is his wrestling. He can take you down and he can scramble with you there, maybe get submissions. He's not very good at the striking department purely because his limbs are just too short to land on anybody, which is why the one knockout that he has in one championship is an anomaly for me. Whereas when he wrestles with you, he can take you down and submit you quite easily. I don't know if he can actually do that to Sanzo. I don't know if he can actually take Sanzo down just because Sanzo is so big and he's also a fantastic wrestler. Very creative. Those Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan kind of guys. Those, we all know how good they are at wrestling, right? So I'm not sure if there's a way for Bokang to actually win this fight, just because Bokang's strengths is also Sanzo's strengths, and just by nature, the bigger and taller opponent is going to have the advantage, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm not too convinced for this matchup. I personally would have loved for Bokang just to have maybe called out someone in the strawweight division. Jared Brooks just lost. We could have run that back with Jared Brooks. You know what I'm saying? You could have fought him again because they have fought before. You could have run that back with Jared Brooks, or you could have had a rematch with Mansour Malachiev because that was a controversial loss. You know, there's more for him to actually get to one championship gold in the strawweight division than there is for him to do it in the flyweight division. I think the flyweight division is way too stacked. Adriano Moraes, Danny King, Dries McLaren, Yoawa Komatsu, they're all too big, bro. You know, and I think the matchups for Senzo Zakirov make sense in that division. So yeah, in a nutshell, for this fight, I'm a big fan of Bokang. Obviously, I want to see him do really well. I just don't think that this matchup is great for him. And also, it doesn't mean anything for Bokang. You know what I mean? If he wins here, is he gonna make a run at the flyweight division? I don't think so. I don't think he should. You know, I think he's got a better chance at the strawweight division where everyone is actually his height and size, and he can throw them around, he can bully them, and he can land fists on them. Everyone else in flyweight division is twice his size. He's gonna have a difficult time in that division. So yeah, I think Bukang is not gonna get the job done. Yeah, I think he loses by decision.
Unfortunate, unfortunate. But look, the man is South African, and we do have that resilience in us. So you never know; he might even surprise us on the night. But yeah, any final comments there, BG, before we go to our final bout?
I do think that it's a great matchup for the one championship. I do think so. I think because if Bukang wins it, it's like um, he's further solidifies himself as a top contender in the one championship, particularly for both divisions. Because now it's like Zakirov he's this kind of talented fighter that the one championship is holding up to be another Akbar Abdullayev kind of fighter. So yeah, I think getting the win over Zakirov does put a massive cap in your feather for any fighter that fights Zakirov. And for Zakirov, if he beats this fight, it doesn't really mean much for him because Pukang isn't a natural flyweight. So that's why I think the fight is a bit weird, to be honest with you. But it's two very good athletes, so it should make for a fantastic matchup. So let's see. Let's go South Africa. Let's go.
Let's go South Africa. Let's go Bokang. Get it done for the boys on the night and the girls, of course. With PG, we're gonna go to the lightweight Muay Thai division now, and here we see George Jarvis coming up against Masunyane Chafi. George Jarvis is 3-1, won by KO in a 3-fight streak. Last time beating Rung Rawi by KO. Coming up against Masunyane Chafi, who is 0-2 on a 2-fight slide. Last time losing to Dmitry Meshikov by KO. My man needs a win here, BG. So is he gonna get it, or is Jarvis gonna send this bride to a different organization?
Yeah, I got a feeling that Jarvis. It's a bit of a weird dynamic going on in this fight, just because Jarvis. I remember watching the Friday fight card, and it was supposed to be a contracted matchup for him, and then it was like a very controversial win, so he didn't get the contract, and he was talking about in the interview with Nick Atkin about it, and he wants to get that back because he really wants the contract. So I think this matchup is a contracted matchup, or maybe he did get it, if I'm not mistaken. But I know there was a whole bunch of controversy going on around George Jarvis. For Muhsin Chafi, dude, I don't know, This doesn't strike me as a kind of fighter that's going to make waves, really, especially if you watch a fight against Menshikov. I was like, why is he doing stuff like this? He's taller, but he's not utilizing his reach. He gets rocked, and then he walks the fighter down by saying, "Come, let's go, let's go." Dude, you can't even doing stanky leg here, and you're walking this man down for what? Menshikov got a walk-off KO on him, bro. So it's like, come on. And Menshikov was juicing out of his mind in that fight. Very, very strange dynamic between these two athletes. So for Muhsin, he's obviously going to desperately need a win here because if he goes on another losing streak, another loss, it's not going to spark a lot of confidence in the organization to want to keep you around and make you fight again. You know what I'm saying? Especially on a fight card that isn't a Friday fights card. It's not a lower level fight card. This is a prime video fight card. This is people are paying dollars to watch this event. So you have to put on a performance basically. And George Jarvis is the kind of athlete that if you watch his past few fights, yes, he didn't get the contract, but the dude's an absolute stud. He's a killer. You know what I mean? I like his style. He throws good tip kicks. He's a very aggressive fighter. He fights out of both stances. He walks you down. He's not afraid to go in there and put on a performance. And I think this kind of fight is built around a knockout here. I think someone's going to sleep in this fight, and it's going to be most likely Muhsin, just because his defense is not great. The way he enters into the void is not favorable for any athlete. That's like the kind of fight where you're gonna get knocked out the way he enters. So I think George Jarvis is gonna be poised in this fight, and he's looking to put on a performance again, just like he did in his last one. I can expect him to knock out Muhsin. Muhsin should use his height advantage to get a win here, but he's the kind of athlete that likes to go into the pocket and just throw hands, and that's not going to be a smart decision here. So I think the winner is going to be George Jarvis. I think he's going to get the finish in the third round, and it's going to be lights out for Muhsin.
Also at BG. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up the card. BG, are there any other fights that you want to mention before we wrap up here?
A quick honorable mention, I would probably say Thongpoon versus Ahmedi Al Jamari, and that fight is the third fight from the bottom. I think Thongpoon is going to put in a good performance there. He might get pieced up by Al Jamari because Al Jamari can dance around him and use the kickboxing stuff, and that's the kind of fighter that that's beat Thongpoon in the past. But Thongpoon, if he lands on you, dude, you know he's landing on you. He's got a lot of power. And then the fight below that between Jahin Rajwan versus Macarena Aragon, that's a ranked fight there. So we're definitely expecting some ranking movements after that fight. I'm not sure who's going to win there, but I do believe that the winner there is gonna enter the top 5 of that division for sure. And then obviously Carlo Pumaang is a legend in the game, so him opening up the card for us should be a fantastic fight. So yeah, looking forward to it this weekend.
Thank you very much, BG, and thank you very much to all of you who have made it this far in the video. If you have made it this far, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video, and watch the podcast every day. All right. BG, we are going to wrap it up there. So how about some final thoughts and a rating for the card, please?
Final thoughts. Actually, really good, very good card. It's getting me amped to wake up at 2 a.m. for it. It was that shooting times is always a bit of a mission, but with a fight card like this, 2 title fights, and I'm sure you mentioned it, the heavyweight Muay Thai, that you don't get to see that quite often. So, and then Seksan, Sittichai, Okang, like really, that's a massive card. That should bring you to the screens at that time. So yeah, super excited. Rating of the card, I'm gonna go with a solid 7.5. That will obviously either go up or go down come after the event. But yeah, really excited for it.
Yeah, fair play, BG. I'm also very
And
excited
yourself?
for this one. Very excited for the Muay Thai heavyweight fight, as aforementioned. But just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be live for that. So be sure to pop in, say hi, drop a like on the stream. Let us know your thoughts on the fight. But ultimately, BG, I'm going to give this a 7. And that is a big in part because of the heavyweight Muay Thai. I'm very much looking forward to that. So give thanks to the One Championship once again. And give thanks to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, for the love and support. But like I said, we are out of here. Be sure to check us out on the live stream. Goodbye, everybody.